Hello everybody, it is Emery48 here and welcome back to another Star Wars video. We are continuing in the Clone Wars. We have Gambit, which I think is a series of books. This one in particular is Stealth by Karen Miller. It is in the Legends timeline and it is in 21 BBY, which is where we have been for a good while. Chapter 1, Yoda sent a message to Obi-Wan, Anakin, and Ahsoka. Their next mission is to stop Grievous from capturing Kothlas. Obi-Wan, Ahsoka, and Rex will fight the ground battle if necessary, and Anakin will fight in the sky. Chapter 2, Grievous has gotten to Kothlas first and is already implementing an invasion. Grievous has also wiped out most communication ability from the Republic fleet. Anakin informed Gold Squadron, led by Captain Fireball, of their role in the defense of Kothlas. They will occupy the Separatist fleet while Obi-Wan and Ahsoka lead the clones on the ground. Anakin and Gold Squadron, along with squads from the other two Republic cruisers, began the space battle against Grievous's fleet. Chapter 3. The ground defense has left the Republic cruisers and is headed for Kothlas. Obi-Wan took a group of clones to defend the spy facility on Kothlas, while Ahsoka led Rex and Torrent Company to defend Kothlas's capital, Telkara. The battle in the capital was costly. Many clones died, and most of those that lived were wounded. Ahsoka reunited with Obi-Wan at the spy facility. After some tough fighting, Anakin and Gold Squadron won the space battle and gave air support to the ground battle, forcing Grievous's fleet to retreat and defeating the forces on the ground. Ahsoka, stealing a line from Spider-Man in Infinity War, told Obi-Wan, "I don't feel too good," just before passing out while holding a wound. Chapter 4. Anakin met up with Obi-Wan and Ahsoka, who were both being treated by clone medics. Ahsoka's injuries were worse, 3 broken ribs, and if she fought again anytime soon, they could puncture a lung. Ahsoka is going to go get treated more at the same facility Rex and Torrent Company went to after the battle. Communications were back online after the battle ended. Anakin sent Obi-Wan onto a medevac because he is bleeding again and he shouldn't address senators while bleeding. Admiral Yularen met Obi-Wan upon his return and they spoke about the battle on his way to the medbay. Chapter 5. Senator Bail Organa has greeted Obi-Wan upon his return to Coruscant. Organa told Obi-Wan about the Separatists taking control of an outer rim planet called Lantib. It seemingly has no strategic value. Bail describes it as a ball of grass and dirt, I'm assuming unpopulated. Both are curious as to why the Separatists would bother taking control of a planet so far in the middle of nowhere with no strategic value. My guess would be they want to build or research something there in secret and undisturbed. Organa wants to discuss Lantib with Obi-Wan over dinner the next day. He wants this to stay between them for now, as Bail doesn't know who he can trust. Obi-Wan said he wouldn't discuss it with anyone, but wants to bring Anakin to dinner as his instincts are always valuable. Chapter 6. Padmé is currently attending a women's retreat on Chandrila and will not be back to Coruscant for 4 days. Anakin spoke with Yoda, getting rare praise from the oldest Jedi, and also sharing an even rarer joke. Anakin, Yoda, Obi-Wan, and Bail met with Chancellor Palpatine and discussed the events on Kothlas. Palpatine has decided to have a permanent force protect Kothlas, which has Yoda and Obi-Wan worried as that takes troops and resources away from an already thinly stretched front line. After the meeting, Anakin stayed behind and talked more with Palpatine, who revealed to Anakin that he knew about Anakin's feelings for Padmé. Anakin was shocked, but when Palpatine said he would not tell anyone and it did not change how he thought of Anakin, he was relieved. Palpatine told Anakin that if he ever needed someone to talk to, Anakin could come to him. Chapter 7. Obi-Wan spoke with Yoda about their meeting and the battle on Kothlas. Obi-Wan also let Yoda know that Ahsoka is developing into an impressive Jedi. Obi-Wan then went to the Jedi archives where he found nothing interesting about Lantib. Anakin found him there, and Obi-Wan invited him to dinner with Bail later that day. Obi-Wan and Anakin spoke for a brief time about Kothlas and their meeting in the morning with Palpatine. Obi-Wan gave Anakin some praise for how he handled himself in both scenarios. Obi-Wan bumped into Master Taria Damson, who needed an assistant for the advanced lightsaber class she was about to teach. Obi-Wan and Taria have been friends since childhood. Taria has a disease that is killing her but is currently in remission. Obi-Wan agreed to help her with class as it would be the perfect thing to pass the time between now and dinner. Anakin contacted Ahsoka at the med center. She had healed well. Rex and Korik are still in Bacta tanks for treatment. Anakin has asked Ahsoka to look up Lantib in the medical database discreetly and report to her when he calls the med center again the next day. Anakin was already running late for his dinner with Obi-Wan and Bail, so he could not explain any further, other than that it had to stay between them. Chapter 8. Obi-Wan and Anakin arrived at Bail's apartment for dinner, where unexpectedly Padmé was also there. Obi-Wan, Anakin, Bail, and Padmé enjoyed a dinner prepared by Bail and Padmé. After the brief awkwardness of Anakin and Obi-Wan realizing Padmé was at dinner, they got along like four friends, saving the business talk until after dinner. After dinner, Padmé and Anakin had a quick moment alone together, but Padmé made sure Anakin did not get carried away as Obi-Wan and Bail were still in the other room. The four of them then discussed all they know of Lantib and have yet to come up with a good reason why Dooku would want to control the planet. There is a small population on Lantib, but it does not produce anything of value. Ahsoka called Anakin with details on a small amount of antidote being made with resources from Lantib. There is Damatite only found on Lantib, and the theory is the Separatists are going to try to use that to create a bioweapon. On top of this, the population of Lantib apparently will not deal with non-humans and only allows humans onto their planet. Yoda, after a lot of convincing, has approved Obi-Wan and Anakin travel to Lantib under false identities and investigate the Separatists' plans for the planet. Anakin went to spend the night with Padmé. Obi-Wan updated Bail on their mission plans and then spent the night with Taria. They spoke briefly before Obi-Wan fell asleep, with her protecting his mind from nightmares. Bail introduced Obi-Wan and Anakin to Agent Varrock. She has developed their identities for this mission. Anakin will be Teeb Markle. Obi-Wan is Teeb Yavid. They are real cousins currently working on Alderaan, originally from Lantib. The story is the pair are coming back home after working a couple of seasons on Alderaan. They are from an extremely remote village, and they are unlikely to see anyone they should know. Teeb is essentially like Mr. on Lantib, and Teeba is like Mrs. After Varrock and Bail left, Anakin threw a chair across the room out of anger. Varrock despised Jedi, and he could feel it. Obi-Wan said it didn't matter because she still did her job and helped with their mission. Anakin was also angry because Bail has not informed Palpatine of the mission, as he, Yoda, and Obi-Wan believe the Republic Mole is on Palpatine's staff. Anakin believes that is the same thing as calling Palpatine a traitor. Obi-Wan cooled him off that point as well. Anakin gave up his arguments and said Obi-Wan was right. The night before their departure, Anakin spoke with Padmé over communicator, and Obi-Wan spoke with Yoda. They discussed Taria and the fact her death was close, but not too close, as well as the mission to Lantib. The following morning, Obi-Wan and Anakin departed Coruscant. Chapter 11. Obi-Wan and Anakin have arrived on Lantib. The Separatists' spaceport security seemed to be very on edge. Their ship was searched by a Separatist officer, who cleared them after Obi-Wan used the Force to get him to skip the weapons search. They have been cleared to be on planet for a month. They were warned of the curfew at sunset. Anyone seen outside will be shot on sight. As they left the spaceport, a Separatist ship landed, a class Anakin described as only ever transporting Sep VIPs. He couldn't think of who was normally on this ship, but something felt off, almost wrong. My guess is it is Newt Gunray. Chapter 12. Obi-Wan and Anakin tried to get a look at the Separatist VIP at the spaceport, but they were stopped by Magna guards, one knocking Anakin to the ground with its electro staff. They let the pair go when a Separatist officer told them not to bother. Obi-Wan and Anakin followed the VIP's ground car after it left the spaceport. They made it to an area that was not supposed to be accessed by people with the identity chips inserted into their wrists by security when they landed. They used the Force to deactivate the chips, stopping the alarms, but droids had already been deployed to check on the disturbance. Obi-Wan and Anakin ran. They made it to the building they could sense the new arrival in, then had to hide in a burned-down building from security until nighttime. They soon realized the people were still in the building when the Separatists burned it down, meaning they are hiding with ash and bodies of the dead. Once night fell, they left their hiding place, jumping on a delivery truck headed for the compound, hoping they could sneak in on it. Chapter 13. Just under 3 months ago, scientist first level Bant'ena Fernan was captured by Separatists while working on Territos 4 in the unknown regions. The Separatist had killed most others, but took Bant'ena and a couple other scientists. General Droid, a Neimoidian, checked up on Bant'ena. Droid had returned to Lantib earlier that day. Bant'ena is working on 7 experiments during her forced time working with the Separatists. Bant'ena was also recently off-planet doing extensive research with an armed escort. The officer who approved it has been killed for making the wrong choice. Droid gave Bant'ena a tape of all her friends and family, what they are getting up to, so she knows how easy it will be for the Separatists to kill them if she disappoints them. Obi-Wan and Anakin overheard droids talking about General Locke Droid, who they thought was still in Republic custody. They are going to investigate the lab. They can feel a scared human female in the lab. Chapter 14. Obi-Wan and Anakin climbed through the air vents to the laboratory. There they watched as Bant'ena realized her new formula would work. She called Droid, who came to watch a demonstration. She successfully killed a lab rat. Droid was excited and Bant'ena threw up. Droid got angry at Bant'ena, thinking she had tried to stall the experiment by not taking his advice earlier. He struck her and threatened to kill her family if she did not give him a copy of the formula to show Dooku. She gave him the copy and cowered in the corner as he left the lab. After Droid left, Obi-Wan and Anakin entered the lab from their viewpoints in the vents. Chapter 15. Obi-Wan and Anakin briefly talked with Bant'ena in her lab before joining her to her living quarters, where she is not as watched. She tells them that her family and friends are being watched, and if she were to stop, the Separatists would kill them. Obi-Wan and Anakin argue about what they should do as they need to stop the bioweapon, but Anakin does not want to force the Separatist hand and get people killed. Chapter 16. Obi-Wan had Bant'ena give them copies of all of her research on the formula for the bioweapon, as well as all of the information on her family and friends being watched. They are going to try and stop the bioweapon, or get another scientist to create a vaccine, while keeping Bant'ena and her loved ones alive. Obi-Wan and Anakin left the compound and ran for the street of empty storefronts, hoping they could use one as their hideout for the mission. Obi-Wan and Anakin have chosen a former electronics store, hoping some of the items can be useful for them. They debated the Bant'ena situation again. Obi-Wan told Anakin that he is too much like Qui-Gon picking up strays, and they can't save everyone. Obi-Wan then compared Bant'ena to Shmi, which did not sit well with Anakin, who got mad, and the conversation ended with Anakin telling Obi-Wan to do something useful rather than tell Anakin why he is wrong, because this time it is Obi-Wan who is wrong. Chapter 17. Obi-Wan tried to tell Anakin that he had done well with Bant'ena and that Shmi's death was not his fault. Anakin did not want to talk about it, so Obi-Wan took a nap. Obi-Wan and Anakin called the temple after Anakin was able to rig together a secure transmission. They informed Yoda of their progress, including the need to save 12 people associated with Bant'ena so they could safely destroy her work and bring her off the planet. After the conversation, Yoda tried to contact Organa, but he was in a meeting with Palpatine, and Yoda does not want to involve Palpatine yet. Manella Lodilin, Organa's personal assistant, told Yoda that she would relay the message that Yoda wanted to speak with him discreetly and soon to Organa once he got out of the meeting. Yoda summoned Taria Damson and Ahsoka, who recently returned from the med facility. Yoda has given the pair a mission to rescue a woman from Separatist surveillance and bring her to the Jedi Temple. I am guessing this is Bant'ena's mother, and one of many rescue operations the Jedi are going to have to complete. Chapter 18. Yoda spoke with Organa. One of the scientists Bant'ena had recommended is Trin Netzel, who is teaching on Alderaan. Organa is going to go home and invite Trin to develop a vaccine for the bioweapon. Organa visited Padmé on his way home and updated her. Organa knows that Padmé is more than just friends with either Obi-Wan or Anakin, but cannot work out which one, and as it is her privacy, he is not going to push it. Taria and Ahsoka arrived on Corellia, where they spotted Mata Fernan, Bant'ena's mother. They also felt a dark disturbance in the Force and knew it must be whoever is tasked with watching Mata. Chapter 19. Taria and Ahsoka brought Mata with them and defended her from the person watching her all this time, also able to apprehend him. Taria is bleeding from her eyes and or nose, but she told Ahsoka not to worry. I think it was because of her medical condition, not the fight. Durd found out Mata had been freed, so he had one of her friends, Sam killed. Durd showed Bant'ena the recording. She was horrified. After he beat her, she revealed that Jedi were helping her and freed her mother. Since the Jedi could not protect everyone, she told Durd that she would turn on the Jedi if he didn't harm any of her other friends and family. Obi-Wan and Anakin contacted Bant'ena again. She lied to them, saying Durd would be off planet till the morning, and tonight is the best night to break her out. They said they would arrive after dark, and Obi-Wan took a nap. Obi-Wan and Anakin debated about the best way to fix the Republic, specifically the Senate, before trying to get some rest before nightfall. Chapter 20. After returning to Coruscant, Taria told Ahsoka about her illness, which had caused even more bleeding on the flight home. Obi-Wan contacted Yoda, who said they had retrieved all but one of Bant'ena's friends and family, the final one they cannot locate. Obi-Wan and Anakin are prepared for their mission to free Bant'ena. Obi-Wan and Anakin arrived at the compound, where they found the trap waiting for them. Obi-Wan was injured in the battle before they were able to hijack a vehicle and escape to the countryside. That is it for Stealth. I wasn't expecting this book to end on such a cliffhanger, but it was a great story with twists that were honestly kind of expected, but still really entertaining. I am intrigued to see how they get off of Lantib in the next book and what happens with Bant'ena. Let me know your thoughts on Stealth in the comments down below. Thank you everybody so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.